Okie dokie. Here we go.
Alrighty, let's try to make sense of the March 9th entry from the Daily Stoic. The title is Find the Right Scene.
Find the right scene. Okay, let's go.
Starts with two quotes. The first is from Epictetus. Above all, keep a close watch on this, that you are never so tied to your former acquaintances and friends that you are pulled down to their level. If you don't, you'll be ruined. You must choose whether to be loved by these friends and remain the same person, or to become a better person at the cost of those friends. If you try to have it both ways, you will neither make progress nor keep what you once had.
That makes sense. Like you're hanging out with certain types of people, and you are naturally kind of fall into the habits of the group that you're hanging with, right? And so if you now realize like, hey, I want to do other things in life than what this group is doing, I need to perhaps it will cost you those friends,
Either it'll cost you the friends,
or you will have to. They will have to accept you for the new that you want to be, which might be a difficult thing, but yeah. But essentially it's saying it is worth to pursue your own happiness, while a group of people might be holding you back.
Yes, like don't stop on your self-improvement because the scene you're a part of isn't moving with you.
Yeah,
you just need
right
to
scene.
move away from the scene. If they come along with you and accept you for those changes, that's great. But also don't be afraid to find a new scene.
Yeah. Perfect.
Musonius Rufus, quoting Theognis of Megara, there just has to be a lot of forgiveness here with how I'm pronouncing things.
Yeah, no worries.
From good people you'll learn good, but if you mingle with the bad, you'll destroy such soul as you had.
From good people you'll learn good, but if you mingle with the bad, you'll destroy such soul as there. Okay, so that's kind of like the bad apple will. No, maybe not like that. But like, don't hang out with bad people because you become affected by those bad people.
Yeah, there may be something to that of like the one bad apple spoils the bunch.
But you might be the good apple, and then a group might be the bunch of spoiled apples. So they definitely will spoil you.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah. We ready for Ryan's commentary? Okay. Jim Rohn's widely quoted line is this: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. James Altucher advises young writers and entrepreneurs to find their scene, a group of peers who push them to be better. Your father might have given you a warning when he saw you spending time with some bad kids. Remember, you become like your friends. One of Goethe's maxims captures it better. Tell me with whom you consort, and I will tell you who you are. Consciously consider whom you allow into your life. Not like some snobby elitist, but like someone who is trying to cultivate the best life possible. Ask yourself about the people you meet and spend time with. Are they making me better? Do they encourage me to push forward and hold me accountable? Or do they drag me down to their level? Now, with this in mind, ask the most important question. Should I spend more or less time with these folks? The second part of Goethe's quote tells us the stakes of this choice. If I know how you spend your time, he said, then I know what might become of you.
So it's not only like judging your character of who you currently are, but also you might not be that person, but you can predict future based on which people you're hanging with.
Mm.
And that was also, it got me thinking about like the other side of it, like yes, don't hang out with bad people or people who have like bad influences, but then also do hang out with people with good influences. So like seek those people and or those groups and try to become part of it. Like in music, let's say, like they say like if you hang out with musicians, like then there's all kinds of relationships get built there. You're moving up with that group somehow, like so being part of those good groups is important as much as not being part of the bad groups.
Yeah. I do like this whole part of pardon me. I do like this whole part of being kind of able to read the future. Because I hadn't really looked at this concept of choose your friends wisely from the perspective of sort of like future telling. Because it is sort of like the people that you are around, like their lives are set up in a certain way. And that way sort of represents the way that your life is also going.
Yeah.
So for example, when we went on this mammoth trip and we were with 8 people whose lives were all set up in a certain way, like they're all in 9-to-5 jobs, they all have mortgages, they all live in a city or a suburb or something like that. Like they're thinking within a mode of reality that I also adopt around them. I sort of start to think within that same like structure and framework of like, oh yes, Monday through Friday, this to this always happens, always 100%. Like there's just this undercurrent of that in the group. And then if you go someplace else and when you're with another group, there's a different reality kind of structure for that group. And so, yeah, what's cool about this is it's making me think that I can basically look at how the lives are of the people around me. And I can ask myself, do I want my future to look like that in some way?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, spend more time with them. And if the answer is no, watch it. Like there may be good people and
or limited, limited or watch it or exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to say like, oh, I'm not gonna hang out with those people or something. Like no, but maybe not as much. And maybe when it gets to those points where you're noticing it that this is something negative, maybe that's the time to say. Maybe that's some time to say something, or time to leave, or time to transition, or some sort of a forward movement that. So you're not sitting through that part, right? Because like, let's say your friend might be like 80% of my friend is awesome, 20% of my friend is like, I don't like when that's happening. Well, let's say, right? So you can now focus on that. Like, hey, it's happening. Is it influencing me? Maybe it's not influencing me as much when I'm noticing it when that it's happening. Yeah. Good one.
this one's cool.
Yeah, the scene. Like what scene? Like who are you hanging out with? Like look out for, look out for who you're hanging out with. Cool.
And I would also say like it applies to not just the friend group, but also the coworker thing. Like that's a little bit harder if you find that you're not in the right scene. But I still think like if you're not in the right scene, one way or the other, it's going to tell you that it's this is the wrong scene. And that's also another scene to pay attention to, because we actually spend more time in that scene than with our spouses or with our children or, so because like this kind of...
So you're saying sometimes you can't choose which scene you're in, right? Like a job or something, like and now you have to like you can't just leave, right? You
You-
have to
yeah,
figure
like-
out how to be control.
Right. Like there's two things that need to happen. Like you need to know how to be there for the time being. And then you need to have your forward movement away from the scene, because like the quote from Musonius, it's like choose your scene. Like the good scenes will make you
Yeah.
better and the bad scenes will bring you down.
Right.
So you're still
Maybe you
moving
can't-
away
maybe
from
you
it,
can-
but
maybe
it's
you can't leave right now, but
Exactly.
maybe you start thinking about, hey, I probably can use a new better environment.
a new scene.
New scene. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Anything else?
Let's do it.
Cool.